the Apostle Paul and how he has led you, you Christians and you Hebrew Israelites, how he has misled you into Dogon worship and domination. All right? So let's get into it. Paul, astrologically, is Sagittarius. Paul is the constellation Sagittarius, half man, half horse. Go back and watch the video that I did on Sagittarius and Paul, all right? Paul is representative of Sagittarius in the Gospels, okay? We find that borne witness to in architecture, all right? So I'm getting this information again, as always, from the Devil's Pulpit. The link to the free PDF is in the description area of this video, all right, y'all? So make the connection. Paul, half man, half horse, okay? According to the story, Paul was struck or stricken by a bright light, all right? And he fell down, he lost his vision, and everybody knows how that story goes, all right? This is represented in art and mythology as Paul riding on the horse and that horse falling down, all right? So you see the half man, half horse concept right there, right? Now, Sagittarius is also representative of Pharaoh, as Pharaoh chased Moses and the house of Yasharallah trying to kill them during the Exodus, okay? So what happens astrologically? Do you guys remember this? What happens astrologically? Astrologically, Moses, Aaron, and Miriam are leading the people out of the waters onto the shore. Get this image in your head. Onto the shore, okay? The shore would be the horizon, right? The shore is equivalent to the horizon. What happens next, okay? This is the astrology of it. What happens next? Virgo is at the horizon. And when you look at the horizon, what you'll see is the Spica virginalis or something like that. This is the corn and the wheat in Virgo's hand. Okay, you'll see that at the horizon, all right? And if you look all the way to the meridian, which is the furthest edges of space, you'll see Pollux, all right? You'll see the constellation Pollux, all right? And Pharaoh, who is Sagittarius, cannot be seen at this point. Why? Because he's below the horizon. So therefore, he is said to have drowned in the waters. In other words, he's under the waters, right? So the constellation Sagittarius cannot be seen because it's below the horizon, meaning it's under the water. Therefore, Pharaoh, the horse and his army, Pharaoh, the horse and his riders, they were all drowned. And so Miriam sang her famous song, right, about Pharaoh and all of that army dying. So that is the astrology of it, okay? Its representation in the Old Testament and the remix in the New Testament, it having to do with Paul, all right? What else is significant about Paul? What else is significant? Paul deviates, and this is argued back and forth, but Paul deviates from the teachings of JC, the Christ figure in the Gospels, right? Paul leads his people into Rome, into Roman jurisdiction, right? We had a discussion maybe 1 or 2 YouTube live videos ago. I think I named that Paul's Secret Agenda and the New Testament Conspiracy. So this is number 2. All right. So what else has Paul done? Paul appealed to be tried by the Romans. Imagine that. Paul, the primary, the major force, the pillar, that man who is basically worshipped in Christianity, more so than JC the Christ figure. If y'all notice, in Christianity, they rely more on Paul than anybody else, right? So Christianity is basically Paul's stuff. Y'all follow me? Paul leads the people into Roman jurisdiction. Paul says, I don't want to be tried by the Jews. I want to be tried by Rome. What example does that set in the mind of a Christian? What does that tell a Christian? It tells the Christian to submit to Roman jurisdiction. Why? Because Paul submitted to it. So you're following Paul's example. Do y'all see how disastrous that is? Now you should recall that Christianity, Roman law, is based on a bunch of abstract concepts. Okay? Like love. Okay? Love. It's abstract. Okay? It goes completely against who we are. We are people who are supposed to be dealing with concrete, substance, right? Substance. I can see it, I can smell it, I can taste it, I can hear it, I can touch it. This is substance, those things that you need and you can only experience with your senses. That's substance. All right? Paul has led people into abstract maritime law, into the world of the dead. Y'all see that? And you're supposed to follow his example. Now you're striving to be like Paul. You're striving to enter into and stay in the world of the dead, the underworld. This is the world of the Dogon. All right? So you're already in violation, not only of natural law. Well, the natural law is, the essence of that is the Most High's instructions, right? So when we say natural law, we're talking about substance, okay, y'all? We're talking about substance. Those things that you experience with your senses, all right? Those things that you experience with your senses. Therefore, substance is the subject matter of the law, right? Substance. What is substance? Your gold chain, your ring, the field, the trees, the animals, your heirs. This is substance, right? This is the substance, and that's the subject matter of the law. You are the substance. You're the soil. Y'all hear me? So Paul took you out of nature's jurisdiction and put you into maritime jurisdiction under the popes of Rome, made you voluntarily subject yourself to maritime jurisdiction, or this abstract world of the dead. All right? And when you're in that world, you have no rights. You have absolutely no rights. You gave it up. So I'm drinking black coffee. This coffee is grown in the jungle in Vietnam. I met the lady who owns the coffee. This is actually a hotel. I'm thinking about moving into this hotel. Anyway, she has a coffee shop and office area, and I'm here enjoying a cup of black coffee. Very nice place here. So it's quite delicious. No aftertaste, really smooth. So I hope y'all are getting hope you understand how critically important this is, and how, if you are following Paul, if you're following the New Testament and Christianity, I hope that you can see that you are destroying yourself. Because here's what happens. By you being in the world of the dead, but trust me, they have access to your mind. And they can access other people's mind. So they can influence other people to make problems for you. And they can even influence your perception. I'm talking about the Dogon, the so-called mermaids, right? Remember, Mary, Jesus' mother, a Dogon. She's called the Maiden of the Sea, remember? Also Isis. These deities are all the same, expressed by different names in different eras of time and different cultures. Okay? So Mary, the whore, the mistress of the sea, Dogon. JC, Dogon. All right? And it's Paul. Y'all need to come to terms with this. It is Paul who has led you into the jurisdiction of maritime law, that you should submit to it. All right? And he gave the ultimate example by appealing to Rome to hear his case. All right, y'all? Take a deep breath and make some decisions about what you want for your life. Do you want to stay under the domination and the trickery of maritime law, Christianity and Hebrew Israelitism? Do you want to stay in the world of the dead? Or do you want to ascend back into your rightful place, into the land of the living, where you are the rightful heir, where you are the substance and subject matter of the law? Okay? Where you're the heir and everything was made for you and to benefit you. You don't need Christianity. You don't need maritime law. But you do need nature. And you are subject to the will of nature. All right? Whether you want to acknowledge that or not. The further you separate yourself from nature, the more unhealthy your life becomes, and the more toxic your life becomes. And the more you're dealing with people who are living in that paradigm, that underworld paradigm, the more toxic everything's going to be for you. Just look at your life right now. Look at your life right now. I'm a living testimony. When I was involved in Christianity, I was out poping the Pope. For real. I got that from Dr. John Henry Clark, y'all. But it's true, I was out poping the Pope. But I always had major problems. And I always had people who were around me betraying me. And I was always having to deal with people who supposed to be spiritual, right? But their behavior shows something completely different, all right? And I knew that there had to be some type of secret brotherhood or something going on, because they would stick up for each other. You know, the people who were in the leadership positions or trying to get into the leadership positions. I could tell that there was some type of association behind the scenes, okay? But I didn't have evidence. I could only observe and feel it, right? But I had no proof. No evidence except for what I saw, okay? And then it turns out, years later, I found out that all of these religious people are involved in secret societies. The pastors, the elders. So the organization that I was in, they were founded by Knights Templars. All right, so astrologically, y'all should remember that Knights Templars are what? These are the ones who are responsible for law, right? Justice and righteousness. And if I remember correctly, I think it's even finance. Okay? These are the ones who created all of this stuff. All right? Or at least the modern expression of maritime law on the land. Okay? So, y'all got real problems with Paul. All right? Let Paul go. And let Christianity go. Let all of this religion go. Return to nature. Okay? When you return to nature, your health will become better. All of the negative people who are making you unhappy, whether you realize it or you don't realize it, they will begin to fall off. Okay? They'll begin to fall off as you continue to adjust and vibrate with nature. And eventually you'll reach equilibrium with nature. And these people in the abstract paradigm won't be able to tolerate being around you. You understand me? They won't be able to tolerate being around you. Okay? You'll come into peace. And you'll come into wealth and happiness, just like me. All right? And those toxic family members, hopefully you're not one of them. But if you're one of them, when you start to vibrate with nature, those toxic personality traits can also fall off of you, and you'll start to transition or ascend. You begin to ascend from lower self-behavior to higher self-behavior. So astrologically, what would it be? How do we express that astrologically? You all have to remember that within each one of us, we have something equivalent to a battery. Remember in previous videos, I discussed with you that the S-U-N, sun in the sky, was once spelled S-O-N. All right? I believe it was called the lazy O. They spelled them both the same, S-U-N and S-O-N. All right? So a man's sun is the light of his life. So remember that. A man's sun is the light of his life. Okay? I am the S-U-N sun as well as the S-O-N sun. Why? Because within my body I have a power pack of energy that keeps me warm and that animates me. Y'all hear me? It provides the same function that the sun in the sky does. It provides the same function as the sun in the sky to my flesh. It keeps me warm. It allows me to be able to metabolize food, to eat food, metabolize food. It allows biochemical reactions to occur. My thought. This is the energy. I am the sun. You guys follow me? Hold up. So when you ascend into higher, well, let's start with lower self-behavior. So you're in lower self-behavior, right? Let's say you're in a bad place. You have a habit of being dirty and nasty, and you know who you are. So right now you would be said to be in the winter. You're in the winter, all right? Depending on how dirty and nasty you are, hopefully you reach your lowest point and there's no place to go but to ascend up. So if you're at your lowest point, you can equate that to December 23rd, 24th, right? This is when the sun is at its lowest point in its orbit, okay? In the south. Now the sun from December 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, it appears that there's no movement. You look at the sundial. I know we've said this a million times, okay, but I'm trying to give you a correlation, okay? You look at the sundial, it doesn't move for 3 days, December 22nd, 23rd, 24th, no movement. So the sun, S-U-N in the sky, is said to be dead. All right? You right now, my friend, hopefully you reach your bottom, your lowest point, and you're dead. You can't go no lower. All right? So you're dead in the grave for 3 days. Okay? But just like the sun in the sky at 12 o'clock midnight, December 25th, the sun, remember, it ascends a full 1 degree up. And that's reflected on the sundial. The sun ascends a full 1 degree up, 12 o'clock midnight, December 21st. All right, now you are dead in your sins. I'm joking when I say that. All right, but you're dead. But now you begin to ascend. So when you're ascending, that's movement toward your higher self, movement toward honorable behavior. Y'all follow me? Movement toward honorable behavior. So that means you are what? You've been resurrected. Okay? You've been resurrected. You're coming out from the underworld and ascending back into nature, which is where you belong. Okay? Well, let's take it further. So you continue to ascend. You leave Paul. You leave Christianity. All right? You return to nature. You start to go out in the sun, take your shoes off, walk in the grass. All right? Do what you say you're going to do. Okay? Let all of the dishonorable things, you go little by little as best you can. You're ascending upward. All right? Now you get into March. You get into March. You get into the equinox. All right? You get into the equinox. Okay, so now we know that astrologically at the equator, during the equinox, there's 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of nighttime. The number of daylight hours is even or equal to the number of nighttime hours. Therefore, righteousness has entered into the world or has been brought back into the world. What is that saying? From winter until spring, remember, winter, there was the number of nighttime hours were far greater than the number of daylight hours. So in other words, the amount of your dishonorable, nasty, dirty behavior with your no good self, you were mostly like that, right? And only a little of you was daylight. Y'all follow me? You're mostly dishonorable, mostly disrespectful, and just a little bit of you honorable. But now you're moving toward March. Okay, you've decided to return to the Most High by following nature and His instructions, right? So now the amount of daylight, the amount of honorable behavior is beginning to increase, and the amount of darkness or nighttime hours, dark hours, are decreasing until finally you get to March. Finally you get to March, right? And now half of your behavior is honorable and half is still dishonorable. You see, it's equal now. There's no unevenness. You're half good and half bad, literally. But you continue to ascend into June, sometime around June 21st. Now the sun is at its highest point in the sky. Okay, astrologically. The remix of that with you is that now you've gone past March, April, May, June, July. Now you're totally honorable. Y'all follow? You're totally honorable. You let Paul go. You let JC, the Christ figure, go. You're doing everything that you say you would do. You follow natural law. Okay? At all costs. You no longer make excuses. You follow natural law. You do no harm all the time. Now you are in your higher self. Y'all follow me? You're at the zenith. You're in your higher self. That's the goal. That's the goal. But life occurs in cycles, right? Life occurs in cycles. So maybe you're going to start to do some lower self behavior. Okay? You descend or you start to fall. Okay? Your lower self or dark, nasty self begins to show itself more often. All right? And then in the autumn, you're back to the place where you used to be. You're back to the equinox where you're doing what? Half honorable and exactly half dishonorable. Okay? And if you're not careful, what's going to happen? You're going to fall right back down into winter, into the lowest place. And you're going to be dead again. Y'all follow me? See how this works astrologically? So let Paul go. Let Paul go. Strive to be honorable. Strive to reach the zenith, your zenith. Okay? Reach your zenith, the highest point in your life, meaning you're dominated by higher self-thinking and higher self-actions, which means what? The only way to do that is to let Christianity go. Let Paul go. Stop debating about this foolishness with the New Testament. Stop arguing, trying to get self-esteem from your knowledge of the New Testament. Let it go. Return to the Most High. Okay? Start studying nature. Start studying the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. All right? 1836, between the Moroccan Empire and the United States of North America. Start studying the U.S. Constitution. All right? Start focusing on your return, your reclamation of your birthrights. And by the way, birthrights are rights. Okay, people always say, I got rights. Well, no, you don't have rights. All right, if you're following Paul, if you're claiming to be a Christian, you have absolutely no rights at all. You're dead. You're civil liter mortuus. You're dead in the eyes of the law. You have privileges and benefits that can be taken away from you at any time. You must understand that. So don't be a coward. Don't be a coward. Return to the Most High. Whatever you got to pay, pay it. Because it's going to come back to you a millionfold. A millionfold, okay? Anyway, those are my thoughts. But there are other instances. I'll try to find time to bring them to you guys' attention about Paul and how he has led you guys into the underworld, the world of the dead. How he has put you in the jurisdiction of the Dogon, the jurisdiction of maritime law, the law of the sea brought on the land, okay? How he's basically fooled you, and how the New Testament writers have fooled you. Notice, y'all should note, there is a dramatic transition between the Gospels and Paul's writings. The Gospels simply tell the story of the physical sun in the sky, its travels through the course of 1 year, its route. That's all it's doing. But Paul comes in with a whole other new thing that involves Rome and submission to Rome. Y'all hear me? Anyway, I'm Dr. Yasapa. Anything that you want from me, the links are in the description area of this video. Anything that you want to do for me, you'll find the links also in the description area of this video. And for those of you who have sent PayPal and Cash Apps in, I greatly appreciate it. And I want to say thank you very much. All right? Really, really appreciate it. It is much needed. Much, much needed. Y'all come see me. on Saturday in our live class. I'm going to return to the way I was teaching those classes maybe 6 months or 1 year ago, make it more intense. So y'all come on in and check it out. The link is in the description area of this video. If you haven't already subscribed to the 101 Ancient Ibaryath course, I don't know what's wrong with you. And I can tell y'all, I'm going to raise the price. Actually, I realized a mistake that I made. Okay, this is a natural law mistake, actually. I heard somebody discussing it, and I realized that I made a mistake. That I'm in violation of natural law. And here's what it is. It's a law of contracts. Law of contracts, right? So when you exchange goods and services, when you contract, there should be equal value. So I'm only charging $10 for a subscription. And there's a portion of that that's taken out for fees, right? And then there's the cost to maintain everything. So there's an imbalance, an unevenness, okay? So I'm in violation of the law of contracts. So I need to raise the price. This is natural law. The price should reflect the value of the course, all right? So I'm putting it out there that I'm going to raise the price sometime soon. It will not affect those of you who are already subscribed, all right? So I have to figure out how to do that. I won't do it until I figure out how to do that, all right? But take note that the price will be increased to reflect the value of the course. So if you want to get in and you haven't, you better do it now. Otherwise, the price is going to be significantly increased, all right? So anyway, y'all have a good day ahead. We're 32 minutes into this video, into this live stream. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your attention, all right? I really, really do. And I'll see y'all on the next one. By the way, if you have any ideas regarding Paul and how he's duped everybody into submitting to Roman jurisdiction, if you have any scriptures in mind, please put them in the comments section. Also, let me know what you think about this, whether you are angry about it, disbelief about it, or whether you agree with it. Put it in the comments section, all right? Let me know what y'all thinking. I'm Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. Islam to all of the Moors, all right? And Shalawama to the entire house of Yasharallah.